This is concerning. It's the only way to describe it from the Browns' perspective. Offensive supporting cast rankings in terms of average PFS rush, receiving, pass blocking, and run blocking grades. Everything except passing, weeks 1 through 4. Ravens, tops in the NFL. Lions 2, Vikings 3, Eagles 4. Commanders, who the Browns will play, 7th. The Browns are dead last behind the Raiders, Chargers, and Patriots. That kind of goes to what we are saying. They're not getting any explosive plays. They're not even giving themselves the opportunity to get explosive plays.
Yeah, it's a real problem. And I think the most concerning thing with the Browns for me is actually the last 2 weeks in these losses to the Giants and the Raiders. Deshaun Watson's played pretty well. He was really good under a lot of pressure against the Giants, and he put up an 88.5 passing grade for us this week against the Raiders, which is a spectacular mark. If your quarterback grades that high, you need to win ball games. And right now, you're not getting the support, right? And then, there's just moments in games where things just come apart on him, right? And you talk about the long Amari Cooper touchdown that should have given him the lead. You get a holding penalty there. You're working with backups up front. Wyatt Teller's on injured reserve now. The entire thing now around Deshaun Watson is coming apart too, even as Watson is admittedly playing a little bit better. I know we talked about him earlier in the season, be like, oh, we might not see that guy again. But now that he's playing better and the supporting cast is losing their footing, is a real well-rounded problem here with the Browns offense right now. And regardless of who's playing well and who's not, they're not scoring a lot of points. So they need – it's tough with backup offensive linemen, but they need to start playing better, and they need these guys on the outside to start making plays.
And, it's kind of the complementary thing, too. The defense isn't doing as much as it needs to do. The problem is, and I think it's why Browns fans are so upset, you look at it and it's like, well, if you fix this, you still have to worry about this, this, and this. It's not one thing. It's not one player. So the fix, it's not going to be easy.
No, there's not a one Band-Aid solution here. Absolutely. And you talk about complementary football and complementing your defense. And right now, they're not, right? They're not running the ball well. They're not making explosive plays. They're not getting enough first downs, especially as the game goes on. I think one of the themes in these last 2 games is got off to good starts. You even got your defense a lead. But you have to sustain drives and score more points and stay on it. It's so hard for a defense to win if you're only scoring 15 points a game. It puts so much pressure on them. And I know there's a ton of talent on their defense, but if they're out there and they're out there on the field for 35, 36 minutes and they're out there for a lot of plays and you're going 3 and out, it wears your defense out, even one as good as the Browns, right? And I think a big element to this game against the Raiders was the Raiders had their season best rushing performance, and the Browns really did nothing on the ground. And the Raiders were the ones sustaining drives, even if they weren't finishing drives with touchdowns, right? The Raiders were sustaining drives. They were keeping the Browns defense on the field. And no matter how good your defense is, if they're gassed, and they're going to have issues when they're gassed.